Later, Mike, what's going on?
Let's get to some. It's not breaking news because it happened 2 hours ago, but ESPN released an article detailing some of the Browns' dysfunction this season. We're going to dive into that after a quick word.
I thought you were talking about the White Sox signing Johan Rojas.
No, we're going to get to that in overtime, though, because we have a lot of White Sox fans who are very interested in that bull. But you guys, as you know, can tackle all of the NFL action with FanDuel.
Yeah.
America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, new customers can bet $5, get $250 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to join today. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
And the Browns are the biggest underdog of the season, I believe.
18.5. We'll talk about that a little more in depth tomorrow. But if you guys missed it, Jeremy Fowler and Daniel Oyefusi, who covers the Browns.
Nice job pronouncing his
from
name.
ESPN, yeah. Collabed on an article. You can take it here, Steve. But essentially, it detailed some of the things that went wrong with the Browns. This was Fowler's tweet, giving you a couple different factors in the quarterback battle. They're going to be looking for some starters talent at the quarterback position. Watson will be in a camp battle. His injury history has to be a factor. Different coordinators have different opinions on him. It was also found out in the article that some players on the Browns didn't find out about the play caller change until Kevin Stefanski announced it to the media. Bold, Tyvis, Erwin, you guys read through the article.
Right.
Some of your big takeaways.
Well, one of the players said he didn't even realize it until he saw Ken Dorsey actually calling plays in practice that week.
Yeah.
That there was what's clear is there was no official announcement within the team. That's very strange. I don't know, Earl, go ahead. Start us off. What did you take from this?
Some of my takeaways, and I put this on Twitter, my thoughts was reading about, the players finding out that Ken Dorsey was the play caller at the same time that some of us did.
Yeah,
I thought that was not like Kevin Stefanski, not like the Kevin Stefanski we've grown to know. I thought that was a little messy. I thought lack of communication, and it kind of signaled to me just maybe this man really has lost the locker room. It just seemed weird. I thought the fact that, Deshaun Watson, I thought it was interesting. The coordinator said that he can still win a QB competition in a few days based on his arm and athleticism. The whole bringing in, a quarterback, it's interesting to see how that'll go. So I just left kind of more confused about what the hell is going on in Berea with the Cleveland Browns. I think when it comes to the Deshaun Watson aspect of things, he's clearly a part of the roster. I don't know if he'll be a part of the on-field plans. I don't know how these Achilles tears go, but they say it's about 18 months typical recovery time. I have a hard time trying to convince myself that he's in any part of on-field plans to start the season simply because he won't be healthy. And so when it looks at the quarterback situation, I'm a person that think a top 3 pick, you got to draft a quarterback. I've settled in on that. You just have to. I don't think Jameis is coming back. DTR don't really deserve to be on this roster anymore. And Deshaun is recovering from an injury. So you got to restart and reset somewhere. But this is why I kind of felt like the Browns needed to tear it down to the studs and blow it up. But even though we know that they're not, stuff like that is why. You hear Jameis Winston come in and say, well, I thought I was running the Kevin Stefanski offense. And then when he becomes the starting quarterback, Kevin just, casually hands over the play calling duty to Ken Dorsey. And without telling your team, the media found out something before the team did, it's just ass backwards to me. So a lot of it left me more confused about what their plan truly is.
Travis?
Well, when I first seen it, I said that Jeremy and Daniel is what Jason, Shams, and who was the other guy for the Cavs? As soon as the Cavs season was over, they dropped the bomb. That's kind of how this was.
Yeah,
too.
I don't remember.
Joe Varden and Sean.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
who it was.
Joe Varden.
This article was equivalent to that when it happened with the Cavs. That's the first thing I thought about. As I was reading through it, the AVP thing really was I thought that you. I thought when you make these type of changes, this is something you talk to the team, you talk to the offense, and hey, We're transitioning from AVP. We're going to go out and find somebody else, blah, blah, blah. You give them the reasons why, hey, whatever, boom, and then you go make your move. That's typically how it works. The fact that they had no idea, that's crazy. The Jameis Winston finding out, that Ken is calling the plays, to me, I had suspicions that Kevin and Jameis really didn't mesh.
Me too.
But when I read that, I said that confirms it right there. To me, it seems like it comes off as Kevin didn't want nothing to do with Jameis. So, hey, Ken, that's you. Handle that. Get him right. And I don't think as a head coach, as a play caller, like that's the thing. You made your niche in this league as a play caller. And when things get bad, the reason that I respect Kevin so much is that he does a great job of getting everything back together and still going out there and calling a good game. And the fact that when it got bad this time, you said, y'all got it. Like, I didn't like that. I don't respect that. And I got to knock on Kevin. And I really never say anything negative about Kevin, but that one kind of took me by surprise that he would pull that move. And as you just read through the whole article, it shows you why the Browns are where we are. Like, just some of the stuff that they do, like it doesn't make any sense. It's not the right way to handle it. Like, you got to conduct yourself as a professional organization, and I just felt like y'all just left people out to dry and left people in the dark about a lot of the moves that you was making. I get that y'all want to respect it. They said it comes down to they want to make Kevin and AB, be the guys to try to fix all this stuff because it falls in their laps. And I don't know, like you gotta inform more people of the plan. Like, I feel like y'all coming up with decisions and not telling nobody why y'all making these decisions. Y'all just expect us to just go out in the blind. All right, they said it. That's what it's gonna be. We ain't gonna ask no questions. Why? We just gonna do it. And I don't think that's right. I think that's why we sitting here, because 2 people, or maybe 3, got it wrong. And for some odd reason, like, nobody's making these guys answer to why they got it wrong. Like, it's not being nobody asking for change. Well, I mean, the fans are, but like inside that building, nobody's asking for change. Like, if Kevin and AB was the reason why you fired AVP, you got Deshaun and all these things, somebody got to be held responsible, like accountable for this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how why that's not even a topic of conversation in that building.
You know what this all sums up for me? It's a lack of professionalism. I heard an interview, or I heard a preview of or a clip of an interview with a pitcher named Bryce Wilson. It's going to sound a little off topic, but it isn't. I'll bring it back. Bryce Wilson, the last couple of years, was a relief pitcher for the Milwaukee Brewers. He just signed to be a free agent with the White Sox. And when he was asked about, because like the Brewers, in a way, are kind of like the Steelers. They're good every year, and then they don't do anything in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But the Brewers are like that. Every year they're good. Like last year, I thought the Brewers were going to stink. They traded away their best pitcher, Corbin Burns. What'd they do? They won the division by 10 games.
Had the second best pitching bullpen.
Right. Right. With a bunch of names that most average fans don't know. Okay? And Bryce Wilson talked about, I went to Milwaukee and I learned how to be a professional. And I'm sure if you ask Steelers players, they'll say the same thing. Especially players that maybe had, what?
They got some names that I just want you to be careful. Easy.
What, Pickens?
Listen,
what did they do with the other guys that weren't professional? They got rid of them.
Yeah. Well,
Antonio Brown. They got rid of Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like they got some people on their team that ain't professional. But go ahead.
Who's not professional?
You already said one.
Okay, Pickens, one guy.
Okay.
I get it. It's one guy.
Go ahead.
But when
I just want to point it out.
Fair. Organizationally, the Browns don't run things like a professional organization, right? Jimmy Haslam creates an environment where everybody reports to him and there's a lot of infighting, okay? I think for once that's actually not going on between the GM and the coach, because I think they are on the same page. But in general in this organization, that has happened for years. There's a lack of communication within the organization. It's been a problem since Jimmy Haslam has been here. We've always had these issues with guys not being on the same page. This is not the first time with Kevin Stefanski. There was confusion multiple times last year. Who's going to be the starting quarterback this week? I don't know. DTR doesn't know. This guy doesn't know. We've seen these type of communication breakdowns happen because the Browns, to me, are a joke. They're not a professionally run organization, and that's what stands out from this article. That's the only thing that stands out from the article, is that there's more examples of being a clown organization. The way think about it. Last year, if you look at, even though they didn't win a playoff game, if you look at since they returned in '99, last year was arguably the best year in the modern history of the franchise. Mm-hmm. Because if you look at what the expectations were, especially if we would have said, hey, Watson's going to stink and then get hurt, you would have said they would have been a 5-win team last year going into the season under that scenario. And they didn't. They found out with bad quarterback play mostly, little better with Joe Flacco, but still very flawed. But with bad quarterback play, they won 11 games last year? 11 12.
Yes,
11 6. Okay, and that's real. And they didn't even try in their last game, or they might have won 12. That Bengal game, the end of the season. They didn't have their starters in there. So they had a magnificent regular season. Yes, it ended ugly in the playoffs. And what did they do off maybe the best season in the modern history of the franchise? They turned over the entire offensive coaching staff.
Yeah.
From an offense that overachieved considering what they dealt with, including Nick Chubb, who I didn't even mention, who missed essentially the whole season. So this year, they brought in all these new guys. It's been a disaster. The offensive line coach was apparently replaced by Mike Vrabel, which we didn't even know.
Which makes no sense.
Makes no sense.
So I want to know what Andy Dickerson is doing.
Nothing. He's playing with his Dickerson. I'm not sure what he's doing, but you've got Ken Dorsey. Ken Dorsey, what has he done?
I wasn't expecting that.
Ken Dorsey's doing nothing. He's been a disaster. You brought in a new running backs coach. Why?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness, man. Wow.
This team and this organization from top to bottom, and part of this is Kevin, and I do think this reflects badly on Kevin. And I think I've said, I think the guy's a decent coach. I would move on.
From Kevin?
I would.
You would fire Kevin?
I would.
Kevin and AB or just Kevin?
I'd fire them both. Because here's why. Here's a big part of the reason why. Because if they get off to a bad start next year, they're getting fired anyway.
See, this is my thing. This is the way I see it, okay? Yeah. I think the way I look at it is I think Kevin, for so many years, Kevin has taken a lot of flack for a lot of stuff, where play calling, decision makings, things like that. And I think this was the first time Kevin said, all right, watch this.
No, it ain't.
Go ahead.
No, it ain't. It's the second time.
Go ahead. You call the plays.
It's the second time.
Call the plays. And we walked out there and seen what was going on. It was a moment we was like, yes, Ken is good, Jameis is good. And then it completely just fell to crumble.
Right.
And we just
I don't like how he handled it, and I think it's true what you said about his relationship with I don't think he likes James.
I don't think he do.
Think about both points y'all making and then go back over his entire tenureship, right? It's always been lack of communication, and it's always been a sense of pettiness from Kevin Stefanski, right? When Baker Mayfield got hurt, and then Baker came out and said, I'll make the final decision on if I play or not, and Kevin just let him waltz his ass out there week after week, to me, that was Kevin being petty. It was one of those, okay, since you think you know everything, boom, go out and play and see what happened. And what happened? We had a bad season to the detriment of this fan base and to the football team. Here's another situation I felt the same way, that he really didn't vibe with Jameis Winston. And when I read that piece of the article, and the part that stood out was Jameis immediately going to Kevin, and Kevin saying, no, I just trust my staff. They got it.
Yeah.
It was very dismissive of your quarterback. Yeah. You're supposed to be like this quarterback whisperer. And it's like, to me, as the head coach of the team, when you showing a disinterest on the dude who's going to be up under center, then why should anybody else get behind you and believe anything that you're about to say when you're showing a lack of support for the quarterback? To your points about the communication breakdowns, it seems like over his tenure, there's numerous things that you can point to and say, well, that was bad communication. That was bad communication. I instantly thought about the Odell Beckham situation, right? Odell gets sent home after the video is dropped. We don't hear anything, and the next thing you know, he's off this team, and Baker just goes on. That's fine. What happens the next year when Baker pisses him off? Okay, cool. You just go out there and keep playing. To me, he has a tendency to be a little petty when he feels some type of way.
And Baker, that's true. And the way things ended between Baker and Stefanski was bad. Both sides handled it badly. There's stuff Baker did in that situation that led to him ultimately being traded. It's not as black and white as it seems. Also, I've heard, and I'm sure all you guys have heard, that Kevin Stefanski, let's just say, didn't coach Deshaun Watson as hard as he should have. And that's on him. Now, maybe Deshaun Watson's a big baby, you can't handle it. But if you're the coach, you gotta make him handle it. That's on you. You're the coach. So the whole thing's a mess right now. I don't think the current regime can solve it. I hate firing guys because I
wouldn't fire him.
Yeah.
I would. He definitely got to make some changes to the staff because to me, it still doesn't make sense to me why you went and got Ken Dorsey as an OC. Like, never mind. I get why they did it. I get the whole we want to cater to Deshaun thing. But literally, like they was talking about an article, I think it said AVP like was 10th in points or 16th in yards or vice versa. He was 16th.
It was 10th in points, 16 in yards.
Okay, then I was correct. Look at that. Yeah, see, you got a good memory. But I'm saying, so you move off him. All right, so did he get fired or was his contract up? Do we know exactly?
They fired AVP.
Okay, so.
And this is, by the way, the ranks you see are from this year. That's not AVP's ranks. That is the Ken Dorsey ranks this year.
So the interesting thing of fired is I truly think it could have been more of a mutual thing because I think at some point AVP wanted to call plays. Like, I think, like, I'm not about to sit here and be the OC and just not call plays. Like I think that he got tired of that. He goes to the Patriots. He's actually the play caller and all those things. So I think he wanted to get there. And I think for Kevin, it was like, well, I need to go get a guy that specializes in shotgun because of Deshaun. But I think it ultimately caters back to the Deshaun Watson thing. I think that the offense that Kevin ran was very successful. It was fine the way it was. The problem was, I don't understand why you went and got a quarterback that didn't run the system that you ran. That, to me, makes no sense. Why go out there and get a quarterback that doesn't do under center play action and all those things when that's what's been successful for the Cleveland Browns? Your team is literally made up because of your system. And you went out there and you changed everything for that. Like, that don't make sense.
We'll never know the truth. I think we'll never know the truth.
That don't make sense. It just and to move forward, I don't like. You have to go back to the under center stuff, and you have to get an OC that specializes in it. Go get somebody off of Kyle Shanahan's or Kevin O'Connell or Sean McVay's staff or something like that knows the system, because that's what you do. That's what you're good at. That's what this team is good at.
Everything you say and everything, I just don't think we'll ever know the truth because we all got the same questions. Like, coming off that season, why would you fire Alex Van Pelt? Why would you fire Stump Mitchell? Why would you fire your tight ends coach and David Njoku just made the Pro Bowl?
Yeah.
Offense wasn't really the issue. Granted, Flacco threw 2 pick sixes in that game, but the defense got smoked.
Yeah.
So going the day after you fire everybody on our offensive staff, and then we really have no real, effective communication as to why. If you ask me, I don't think Kevin Stefanski wanted to fire AVP. I think he was forced to. I don't think he wanted to tailor everything to Deshaun Watson. I think he was forced to. Like you just said, man, under center play action, 2 tight ends, like power run game behind a strong offensive line. That's been the Brown staple since he's been a coach. And you mean to tell me all of a sudden, like, out of nowhere, you just going to change your whole philosophy? All of a sudden, you just going to hand over a play call? And now I just wish we can all ask Kevin why and get a real answer, and we never will.
And the only thing I'll say to that, though, is, to me, if you're a great coach, you got to be able to adjust to the talent you have.
That's true. I get that.
Yeah.
But still, your bread and butter. It's not like the system doesn't work. San Francisco just was in the Super Bowl last year.
Wasn't Deshaun Watson's numbers better under Kevin Stefanski's system than what it was last year running this version of Ken Dorsey's offense? So it's like, it's not even like Deshaun wasn't capable of running the system. I think what happened was
he didn't want to.
I think the owner looked at it and said, yeah, it looks good enough, but it don't look explosive. It don't look it don't look like magnificent. It don't look anything like everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, granted, we didn't never see max potential Deshaun, but we seen him run Kevin's system good enough to have success. To where the man had over a 500 record, and I know to you,
Yeah,
Will,
I don't agree
that don't mean a lot. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, he quarterbacked us to more wins than not under that system, and he looked worse this year than he did at any year prior in Cleveland.
But this is to answer your point, your question, or your thought, I should say,
Yeah.
where you was like, you got to adjust to your talent. Bull, you went through OTAs and you went through training camp. Any reporter that was at the joint practice with Minnesota said that the offense looked absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
If you're the main play caller and the head coach and you see that, at what point do you say this ain't gonna work? Like, this ain't
Right.
it. We have no choice but to go. Like, why would you see that it's not working, see no success, and say, you know what, we're gonna go into the season?
Well,
like
that's on
this?
the coach.
That makes absolutely
petty.
no sense.
Yeah.
That's why I keep saying he's petty, because I assume that he's being told to make these choices, and he sits back frustrated,
Yeah.
knowing that he wants to do other things, and he just like, you know what, y'all got it.
We don't know that he's getting forced to do these things. He may be. If he is, it doesn't matter who the coach is. The Browns are never going to win. But I'm just going to go into the assumption that he's not being forced, because I just can't give him a pass. And if he's not being forced, then
That's even worse.
it is worse. It's not petty. It's just stupid.
That's even worse.
And real quick, in terms of the Watson angle of what was said here, I don't believe that Deshaun Watson's in the mix next year. I don't care what is said. That's insane. There's enough teammates here that don't like him. He hasn't been any good. It makes no sense to keep him on the team beyond a financial reason. So I mean, the guy hasn't been a good player in 5 years. So how many more chances are you gonna? How many more times are you gonna keep rolling him out and pissing everybody off? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Fair enough.
Anyway,
All right,
go ahead.
we go from a team that is